You are the reason that your e-commerce business is stuck. And it's not because of what you don't know, it's because of what you're already doing incorrectly. I can say this because I've been in your shoes and now I help e-com business owners scale while doing less of the busy work. For example, a client recently, Adam, he made a 10K order and his VA handled the whole thing for him. He didn't have to lift a finger. And now I've generated over £1.3 million in e-com sales and I run that business in less than an hour a day and I've helped hundreds of Shopify store owners to scale. Now, if you can't watch this video for the next 10 minutes, then there's no hope for you because what I'm going to share with you today is how real businesses are built, the ones that will still grow and generate income while you sleep. So let's dive into this. The problem that I see a lot of people have is that they're building a job for themselves rather than a business. So what that looks like is that you're doing all the Shopify updates yourself, you're answering customers on live chat, phone calls, emails, you're fulfilling orders in Shopify, you're uploading products still, and you're the one that has to handle every issue that comes into you from a customer. And you're the one that has to handle returns. Now, when you build this for yourself, you have to do it all on your own initially. But too many people hold on to this for far too long, and I was the same, until I realized that as the business owner, if you want to build a real business, all you should be doing is overseeing your team, where you've set processes and standards in place, and you're optimizing for KPIs. So you're doing the things that really move the needle and allow your business to scale. And you can only do this properly if you've got the space in your mind to focus on this because you're not the one that's doing all of these extra tasks. Now, you probably hear the word bottleneck all used all the time, but essentially what you're doing by doing all of these tasks is becoming the bottleneck to growth. And I'll show you what this means. So this is my drawing of a bottleneck, and this depicts your business when you're the one who is the bottleneck in your business. Now, this is money, orders coming in. This is people that want to buy your products. This is people that are in the market for your products. And it's coming in at a big rate. You can see how wide the market is here. Now, when you are the bottleneck, this is you here at the narrowest part of the bottle. It means that the output of the business, or the amount of money that you generate as a business, is hindered by how fast you can process the money that's coming towards you. So you would limit this when you're the one that has to be the person that has to fulfill every order, or has to sign every supplier, or has to upload every product. You're the person that's going to limit how fast this can come in. Therefore, it comes from this wide amount of the market. If it's only you that allows things past, then you can see how much more slowly everything's going to get past. And what we do when I work with people like my client who's made the 10K order recently is essentially what I'm doing is just widening this bottle so that the flow of money and the flow of income has lots of room to expand rather than relying on one person as a bottleneck. And the way we do that is through the processes I'm going to walk you through now. Okay, now we're going to widen that bottleneck by going through these 7 steps. And these are the exact 7 steps that I put into my clients' businesses in order to go from that terrified business owner that's overwhelmed, stressed, and not able to scale because they're doing everything, all the way through to somebody that's able to generate 10K orders and not have to lift a finger, and the business can scale without them doing everything in the business. So ultimately, it's about more money and less time. So let me walk you through it very quickly. Now, step 1 is all about initially getting processes in place. Now, I help with this because it's not necessarily the thing that you want to do straight away, because when you wake up and you see emails and orders and phone missed calls, that's the first thing you want to jump off. So it has to be proactive, and we have to proactively start getting together. What is the way that we operate this business? How do we take customers from the front of the door as they come into your business? How do we turn those into paying customers? And we document that in the processes. So therefore we have a systemized business. That's step 1. Step 2 is a cleanup. Oftentimes, once you're in business and you get started and you get some sales under your belt, there's debt that gets accrued in that business and there's lots of operational complexity. And really, we just need to make it simple for us to manage and for a team to get in place. So we need to clean up. We need to be removing unnecessary SOPs. We need to remove the unnecessary baggage that's come from a system. We need to probably take away some tools that aren't being used, so we consolidate to the most simple way of running a business so we don't get all cluttered. Now, this is often people miss this part. They're so keen to add things, add SOPs, that they just make the business more confusing. When really, if you miss this step, you're just going to confuse everyone. We must clean up and make sure it's more simple for a business to run. The next thing we did, and this is a case study, by the way, this is exactly what I've done with Adam recently. This is not just theory, this is practical stuff that we've done. The next step, we had to remove underperformers. So this was the case of my client, and they had a VA in place already doing customer service, but they didn't have the right attitude and they weren't meeting the standards that we wanted to set in the business. That looked like leaving work early or not having the right enthusiasm in the workplace. And that is absolutely not the case when you hire virtual assistants if you hire them correctly. So we had to hire underperformers because you know what they say about one bad apple in a bunch, it will spoil the rest. And that happens if you've got any underperformers in your team. So review that. Obviously, if it's just you, not going to remove yourself, although we might do not intentionally, remove yourself by doing not all the work in the business, not going to remove yourself completely. But what we'll do is remove any underperformers and make sure we've made space first for step 4, which is when we started to hire VA number 1. So we hired a top performer, and the way I did this, I went out and hired from online jobs. I went through my usual job process for hiring, which I can send to you. If you send me a message on Instagram, I'll get that across to you. But I have a hiring process that consistently churns out really high performing virtual assistants. And we hired VA number 1. And VA number 1 is he's fantastic. And his first job was to start taking over the customer service and start to fulfill orders that we're receiving. So really take out the bulk of the work that comes into an e-commerce business every single day, taking calls, live chat, emails, fulfilling orders in Shopify, updating Shopify products, and keeping everyone updated in terms of suppliers and customers. Then what we did, step number 5, we hired VA number 2. And VA number 2 is able to do a more outreach style. So they're able to do cold outreach phone calls. This client's niche is quite B2B, so we can reach out to businesses, and it actually creates a new acquisition channel. It also means when you've got 2 VAs that one can hire the other if they're off. You can even do weekend coverage if you'd like. And it means that you're always going to have somebody in place. So you're not the one that's going to be relied on to grow that business or make sure the business runs day to day. So once we had 2 VAs, the next thing we need to do is consolidate the current systems and make sure we spend some time making sure that these 2 VAs are onboarded correctly and make sure the systems are operating and they know what they're doing to operate the system. The worst thing you can do is just expect you're going to bring VAs on board and that they'll just do the work. We've got to make sure they have the structure, the support around them to do a great job so that you can step away and just make sure that you're keeping on top of the standards. And then finally, step number 7, and this was an exciting one, but what we did is we got VAs, the VAs that we hired, into a support channel. So what I realized I could do with when I'm bringing on VAs for people's businesses is VAs often have lots of questions when they start, and they'll have to put all of those questions to you as the business owner. Now, the way to stop this from happening and constantly receiving messages and answering messages from your VAs is to have somebody else for those VAs to contact in order for them to get the support they need. So I've put together a WhatsApp channel, just on WhatsApp, group of VAs. So all the VAs that are in this business, I've put them in touch with my existing virtual assistants that have been working with me for 3 years or 2 years. And that means they've got loads of experience in this role, working on e-commerce businesses, and they can support each other on how to handle certain situations. And this has been absolute gold because they chat, they get in touch, they make sure that they're covered, they feel more supported, and it's less work, less time for the business owner, but more money because customers are looked after more quickly, better reputation, a higher conversion rate. And ultimately, when you put these 7 systems in, it means that you as the business owner don't need to be constantly manning the customer service. You can focus on growing the business. And when an order comes in, the VAs will fulfill that. They'll look after the customer and you can sit back while you watch your business turn into a money-making machine. And that's what I've depicted here. After you do these 7 steps, what happened for Adam is he started making 10K sales and he didn't have to be the one that was fulfilling everything. He didn't need to nurture the client. That was done by VA number 1, and VA number 2 is going to fulfill the order without him having to touch it. So this is how you turn your business into a money-making machine. It's a machine because you can see now when people are in the market for the products that we're selling, and there's people that are ready to pay 10K, these 10K orders, you are no longer restricting how many of those orders can come through because of how busy you are doing everything. Also because of how busy you are that you're not able to expand the market with the marketing efforts that you're doing because you're so busy. The difference after you've been through these 7 steps is that you are no longer the bottleneck. You can smile here while your business has a much larger throughput because of the fact that you have removed yourself as a bottleneck. Therefore, you can keep expanding the market with your marketing efforts. So find more of those 10K customers. You can also make sure that every time these customers get in touch, they're responded to by more than just you. And then when they are coming through, when the orders have been fulfilled, you are also not the one dealing with the after sales. And you get a good reputation, which leads back to getting more sales and growing the market more and more, because you're no longer the bottleneck. It's not a thin bottleneck. It's a nice wide system that we create by going through these steps. And it really is so satisfying to watch businesses go from this stage through to this stage and allow them to grow the business, make more money while spending less time actually operating that business. And it has to be the way that you go. So with that said, I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you're going to input these systems and this process into your business. Let me know if you'd like me to send you my best resources, so how to hire VAs. I've got ready-made SOPs for e-commerce businesses. Just follow me on Instagram or send me a DM on Instagram. Find me, the link's in the description. Send me a message. I'll send you all those details over. And if you want me to speak to you as well, we can have a call and we can chat about how to input this into your business as well. So you're the one that's making these 10K sales without having to lift a finger, and you've got a money-making machine. So with that said, hope you enjoyed the video today, and I'll catch you in the next one.